to YouTube.
Cat's channel!
Cat's channel! Okay guys, this is my friend Angela.
Hello, world.
She has known me, how many years have you known me?
6 or 7 now.
Yeah, since
if you
college.
can believe it.
If you can. Angela's engaged. Zing zing! So tell them a little bit about yourself.
My name's Angela. Like Kat said, I've known you 6-7 years, and I'm also a couples therapist. So a little bit more insight from a clinical perspective. But yeah, also just a friend.
Okay, so today we are gonna talk about red flags in relationships, or like when you're dating and like you're meeting someone. I feel like it's not even relationships that are romantic. It could also be friendships.
Absolutely.
So
Familial relationships, co-working.
ooh,
All of it.
yeah.
Any dynamic between 2 people, really. Or an animal, your dog.
Okay, so we have like these little note cards just to kind of get the conversation. So these are also things you guys have DM'd that are pretty common in a lot of your stories that you tell me where you ask for advice. And one of the main ones.
Oh no, I'm itchy.
Oh! Like, I'm fine. Guys, Veronica's right there. That's who I'm looking at. We're gonna talk about narcissism in men and women. Okay, so what are some early signs of narcissism?
The biggest one with narcissism, for me, that I've experienced, is just like self-centeredness. And there's a difference, I think, between self-care and self-confidence and being self-centered. The world revolves around you. I don't know, consider other people's feelings. That's a big sign of narcissism, I think.
And how can it affect a relationship?
So another thing to note with narcissism is that we throw out the word narcissism, right? But it's also a personality disorder. So if you really feel like in your relationship that is something that you're experiencing, I mean, see a professional, right? Go seek clinical help, because it is a personality disorder and it's often undiagnosed. And I think that's why people get trapped into relationships with narcissists, because it's a pattern and they have a pattern of abusing and then, you know, I'm sorry, come back, and the gifts and the love, we call it love bombing, right?
You call it love bombing when they bring
Yeah.
the gifts?
Love bombing is like when someone feels bad for something they did, and they come back and they love bomb. That's what I love you. I'm sorry. You're amazing. Look at this bag. I mean, who don't want a bag? But you know what I mean? Like when
take the bag, I'm leaving you.
right? When it's in the context of winning someone back, and we're not really talking about what happened, right? We're just we're love bombing, forgive, let's shove it under the rug, but we're not really addressing like what went wrong here, right?
This is really cool for me to hear you talk like this. Because like I just knew her in college and now she's like this professional and it's so, you're so great at this.
Oh my gosh, thanks. I try. I am not perfect and no clinician is, but
you are.
It's definitely a passion of mine, because I think love is something that almost everyone wants in their life, right? In some capacity. So awareness on it, knowledge on it. I mean, and again, it can go into so many other relationships other than just romantic.
Right. Okay, so now manipulation. What are some early signs of that in the beginning of any relationship?
Ooh, I think lying is one of the biggest. I'm thinking of some of my past relationships.
Oh, aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
A reflecting moment.
Yeah, and the lying, I mean, it just cuts truth down. Honesty and friendship, I think, are the foundational blocks of a relationship, and lying in any capacity, I think, just completely shatters it.
I totally agree. And even if it's a small lie, I feel like people think, oh, well, it wasn't a big deal. But it's all a big deal. Because it's like the standard you have.
Or lying by omission. Not sharing the whole, all of the story. That's a big one I see in my office a lot.
Really?
Oh yeah. Probably never get caught, right? But you're the one that has to live knowing that you didn't share all the knowledge. You're also robbing your partner of an opportunity to connect with you in a deeper way and work through that and build something more. I mean, do what you want, but
next flashcard. Let's talk about boundaries with your significant others, parents, guardians.
Family, yeah.
Close people.
I think a boundary in any capacity, the first time it's set, it's always going to be pushed on. And it's up to the person to reset that boundary in a healthy way and be firm on it, right? You're not going to set a boundary once and the person who, you know, it's now imposed on is to say, oh, great, love that boundary that you just set there. No, they're going to be confused and it's going to be something new, and it's up to you to stand by it, reinforce it, again, in a healthy way. And what I always say with boundaries are the only people who have a problem with boundaries are the people who are probably abusing them in the first place. No one's ever going to have a boundary unless it wasn't benefiting them.
That's so Okay, so now staying in the romantic realm, do you think a person can change?
Yeah.
I think
that one.
I think they can, but I think at their core, I think you are who you are at your core. Like your moral code and what you do, what you think is right and wrong. I think at your core, you are who you are, but you can change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I very much agree with that. I think with change, I wouldn't be a therapist if I didn't believe in change, right? And that's part of the human experience. I have a lot of couples tell me he or she wasn't the person they were when I married them. And I'm like, and that was 20 years ago, Bill. Like, of course they're not the same person. Are you the same person? No, absolutely not. Yeah. You've grown, you've changed careers, you have kids, you lost a dog, you maybe lost a family member, right? All those experiences are going to shape you. So rather than view change as a bad thing, embrace it. It's truly an opportunity to be better every day. And I think we're often scared of change. It's a beautiful thing, and it's just an opportunity to flourish in my eyes.
I love that. That's kind of the shift I had to have when I got my divorce. It was a big change, and nothing was like I thought it would be. It got pretty sad for a bit, and then I changed that perspective.
Sure.
And then I was like, okay, things are working now. Better. Okay. So, cheating in a relationship. What are your thoughts on that?
Don't do it! Don't cheat! It's not good. Okay, what I say about cheating is that people don't wake up and cheat, right? People don't wake up out of the bed and say, I'm going to cheat on my partner today, like today's the day. It's oftentimes built up over time, whether it's a lack of needs being met, lack of communication, something in the relationship went awry, and that person or the persons in the relationship didn't have the tools and resources to talk about it. And so again, you'll hear me say it, sweep it under the rug, and it became too great, and that's what leads to cheating, I think. What would you consider cheating? Because it is different for everybody.
Sleeping with someone.
Big no-no.
Big no.
But for some people, that's not cheating. Polyamorous relationships.
Right, but I'm not a polyamorous lover.
She's not poly.
I'm not into that. That would be cheating. I think emotional cheating is still cheating, like the whole texting,
flirting.
Like, I'm gonna flirt. Yeah, that's still cheating. I think it's just cheating if your partner would be there with you and you wouldn't want them to see it.
I think back to that gut feeling.
Yes.
Like you know.
You know.
Would you want your partner knowing that you're doing this? Yeah. Are you gonna lie by omission about this later?
And imagine you're texting someone. Pretend your partner's in that text. It's a group chat, and they're watching what you say to this person. Ooh. I think that helps set boundaries in your own mind. So you'd be like, oh, I didn't know, but you did know. Just think about it. Think before you do things like that, because it's so fragile. So that brings overcoming trust issues. How do you think people can do that, and when do you think it's like at a certain point it's just not going to happen?
I would say it's different for everybody. I always say it takes two people to make a relationship work and one person to make it end. If two people aren't invested and committed, doesn't matter how bad the other person wants it, it's not going to happen.
God, that's good. Good God, that's good. Okay, what about porn? So that's such a big subject. Some people are like, yeah, I'd rather them watch porn than actually sleep with someone else. I don't care, or I do care. It makes me feel insecure. What?
Sure.
Do you think that's different for every relationship?
Absolutely. So sometimes I think people as the individual don't even like porn. This can tie in spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs, moral, ethical. It's all about communication. Talking with your partner. Is this something we're comfortable with? Is it not? What are the boundaries? Again, boundaries around it, and having open dialogue around that, setting them, and then respecting it. That's all it is.
So could you like ask your partner, do you watch porn?
Absolutely. Okay, but be careful. Because are you asking out of curiosity, or are you asking, is it a loaded question, right? I see that a lot in my office. Couples say, I'll use your example, do you watch porn? Knowing that if they say yes, they're gonna fire off. It's very different if you go to your partner and say, hey, I've been talking with a couple of my friends recently about porn. Just want to have an open conversation about that and find out what works for our dynamic. Do you mind asking me?
I love that.
Do you watch porn? That setup is so different than, do you watch porn? Mystery, right? Answer correctly. Otherwise, I'm going to freak out, right? Now you're sleeping on the couch and fight. You're going into it the intent of saying, hey, I want to find out what works for us in this dynamic. It's so different.
I think that's such a big tip. Starting a conversation that's super uncomfortable, just like how to, that first sentence. I think that's so important.
Broach it. And I always recommend starting with a feeling, right? People can't negotiate your feelings. So say, hey, I'd love to have a conversation about porn. I've been feeling a little anxious about this. Do you mind if we sit down and talk? that is immediately creating like safe space. And it only works if your partner is also equally emotionally intelligent and they can say, absolutely, I can tell this is something that's been on your heart and mind. Let's talk about it.
Okay, what do you think about this normalized idea that men are supposed to make more than women? Like men are the providers. And then what about in relationships where that's flip-flopped, where it's equal, where the dad stays at home and takes care of the kid and the mom goes out? How do you balance those dynamics with societal stigmas?
Well, I think more than ever, we're seeing such a shift in the social norm. And there is no norm now. So again, talk about it, find what works for you, and there'll always be haters, right? So as long as you and your partner are on the same page and it's working for you too, I say continue doing that. What about you?
I think money talk is like such a sensitive topic. And I feel like when you find your person that you're gonna be with, that's when you can start having that talk. But yeah, I think it has to be had because it also helps you understand what can we do as a couple together. Like you and Ames are so good at talking about, so that's her fiance, who I went to high school with.
Long-term friend.
But they are really good at talking about budgeting, planning the future, their goals, what they can spend that month, and that conversation, I mean, they're engaged. So that is a conversation. I'm not saying have this with like a guy you just started dating or a girl you just started seeing, but I think that communication opens up way less stress in the future. Way less like we're on the same page about this, finances, everything.
I think it doesn't matter if you're dating or married for 20 years. Everyone's dynamic and relationship with money is different, but talk about it. Have the conversation. Find what works for you and be willing to adjust and be flexible and compromise. But if you're not talking about it, you're not doing yourself a favor. And I think Kat's right. You have to talk about it at the right stage of your relationship.
I feel like talk about it is the general consensus.
Yeah, talk about it.
I get DMs also from like younger girls who are dating and they're telling me like their relationship and some of it sounds so bad. And I want to remind you guys that you can break up. You don't have a kid with this person. You're not married. You can get divorced too. And even if you have a kid, I'm proof of it. But don't forget that you can leave and you will be okay. Because I feel like sometimes people forget that they have that choice. And it's so easy to feel comfortable in that, which I totally get and I empathize with. But just that reminder in the back of your mind, it's not like an end all. I felt like in my high school relationship, which went on to college a little bit, I felt like I couldn't leave. You know, he was my first everything, and he kind of, not idolized me in a sense, but put me on this pedestal that I'd only been with him, and it made me feel like if I was with anyone else, I would be like damaged goods. And you just want to remind yourself you can leave. It'll suck, and it'll be hard, and it'll be challenging, but you'll grow. It's just kind of growing pains, or giving birth. Like it hurt when I gave birth to MK, but she's the greatest thing that ever happened kind of thing, you know? So sometimes beautiful things hurt to like come to light. Okay, so my mom says that cada ladrón juzga por su condición. So basically that means every thief judges based on their condition. So like if you feel that, you're gonna project that onto someone else.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful quote for trauma. Trauma is something, again, we all experience, we all have in some capacity. So give yourself grace. Don't sweep it under the rug. Talk about it, right? Embrace the feelings. That's growing. That's part of the human experience. And then hopefully you won't bring all of that into your next relationship. And again, you can give yourself the opportunity to flourish and have a healthy romantic or any relationship that you choose.
What do you think about hurt people? Do you think that's true?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Even if it's unintentional.
Yeah. I think that's the hard part. A lot of times it is unintentional. And so, you know, right or wrong, people use that for justification.
Right.
Again, I kind of think of like an abused or like battered dog, right? Like they don't know any better. They don't bite the person that's trying to give them a bath now once they're adopted.
It's such a good example.
It's just because of their past. They're scared. They're scared.
Okay, so these are just some things to be aware of, and I think talking about it with Angela, who's so well versed and knows this inside out, helps you see it from a different point of view, which I think is super important with relationships, especially relationships. I just want to warn about the red flags because I feel like it can avoid a lot of heartbreak and trauma on your end. I feel like they're important to know because you want to protect yourself as much as possible and your family and all those things.
And just remember that every relationship is different.
So different, and communicate.
Yeah, so different, right? It's two different individuals in every relationship. So your girlfriends, your parents, they're not going to look the same as your dynamic, and that's okay. Yeah. But you have to talk about it.
Just talk about it, people. And like make it a safe space, like Ange said, because I've done that before in relationships. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. But I have like my insults like ready to go. Like if he says anything, I'm like, ah!
That defensive-ness.
Oh,
we go in arms.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I think they're gonna love you.
I hope.
They're gonna love you. They're gonna love you. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Like and subscribe.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but it would mean a lot. And thank you for being here. Comment any other video ideas you guys have, because I feel like I'm still kind of getting into the groove of like, what the heck am I gonna put up this week kind of thing. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys!
Adios!